This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
Welcome to Al Jazeera Midday. We start the news with the recent developments in the Gaza Strip.
توعد رئيس الوزراء الإسرائيلي بمواصلة العمليات العسكرية في قطاع غزة.
The Israeli Prime Minister vowed to continue military operations in the Gaza Strip. This news comes hours after the Israeli occupation army announced they have concluded the first phase of a military operation in the northern Gaza Strip. The occupation army pulled back its troops behind the borderline with Gaza, leaving behind massive destruction and damage.
دمارا وخرابا كبيرين في المنطقة.
The casualty toll in the Gaza Strip has risen to 116 martyrs and 350 wounded. We are joined by Al Jazeera correspondent Samir Abu Shamala from the town of Jabalia in the northern Gaza Strip, where Israeli tanks have reportedly pulled back. Samir, what is the effect of this withdrawal on the ground?
يعني هو ليس بالمصطلح العسكري انسحاب، هو إعادة انتشار للآليات العسكرية الإسرائيلية على الأطراف الشرقية لبلدة جباليا والمناطق.
It's not a withdrawal in the military sense, but rather redeployment by Israel of its military machinery to the eastern border of the town of Jabalia and surrounding areas, which witnessed extensive military activities by the Israeli forces in the past 2 days. In fact, the Israeli machinery is still positioned on the eastern border with Jabalia. Once again, the Israeli withdrawal is not a withdrawal in the military sense, but rather a redeployment of Israeli forces. At 6 a.m., the Israeli forces began the redeployment process. Following the Israeli withdrawal or redeployment, the Palestinians came out to assess casualties and damage incurred during the Israeli offensive. We are in the area of Abed Rabbo in the town of Jabalia in the northern Gaza Strip. According to the Palestinian Health Ministry, the death toll has reached 116, including 39 children and 10 women. In addition, 350 Palestinians, including nearly 90 children, have been wounded in the offensive. Here we came across this woman who told us about her ordeal during the Israeli offensive. Haja, can you introduce yourself?
Why not, son?
What's your name?
Asmahan Abed Rubu.
Haja, what are you doing here?
I'm here in our home, my children's home. This home belongs to my sons.
What happened here?
They knocked on the door and I opened it for them. The children were scared to come down and open the door, so I opened it myself. Upon opening the door, my older son, the owner of the house, came to the front. One soldier asked my son, "Where are all the children? Bring them downstairs." My son told them they were upstairs. The soldier shouted for everyone to come downstairs. They all came downstairs.
What did the soldier do to you?
Wait, I'm coming to that in a minute. Son, I'm diabetic, disabled, and have high blood pressure. The soldiers ordered my son to bring everyone downstairs. They rounded everyone up, nearly 100 people, including the old, children, and infants, into one room. They kept us in the room and they didn't allow anyone to leave. The children were dying of hunger and thirst. The soldiers didn't allow us to go and bring milk or bread. They also prevented the children from going to the bathroom. Then they started to let 2 or 3 people go to the bathroom at a time.
في هذه اللحظات ربما نشاهد بعض الآثار التي
Now, let's watch some of the damage caused to this home during the Israeli military operation. It seems the home has been hit by a missile, causing some damage. The camera is trying to capture some of the damage caused by it.
ربما الكاميرا تحاول أن ترصد بعض الدمار الذي لحق بهذا المنزل.
The army will continue striking hard at Hamas. That was the word from Prime Minister Ehud Olmert, who told the Knesset Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee that despite Palestinian declarations to the contrary, peace talks with the PA would continue. Indicating that the army pullout from Gaza was just temporary, Olmert stressed that Israel is in the midst of combat and further action would be taken against the terrorists. Olmert said the aim of the operations was to reduce rocket fire and weaken Hamas. Left and right-wing opposition members lashed out at the Prime Minister. Meretz leader Yossi Beilin called for a ceasefire with Hamas, while Likud's Dr. Yuval Steinitz wants a return to full occupation of the Gaza Strip.
My impression is that the government of Israel intends to continue a war of attrition in Gaza and kind of negotiations in the West Bank. And I say to the Prime Minister, there is nothing like that. You cannot go on with a war of attrition in Gaza and believe that it is possible to negotiate with their brethren on the West Bank. Even if, in their hearts they are not against it, the people in the West Bank will not negotiate with you. And it is a fact that they stopped the negotiations already.
I saw this morning very hesitating Prime Minister that spoke about reaction. Reaction is not the answer. Prime Ministers spoke about negotiating with Abu Mazen and making more concession in the West Bank, which means that more concession in Judea and Samaria in the West Bank means that we will have the Hamas in the West Bank. This is not the answer.
Well, I was extremely disappointed to listen to the Prime Minister and to see total misunderstanding of the situation. Prime Minister Olmert is speaking about fighting, ongoing war of attrition. He doesn't understand, exactly as it was in the north, that if they are shooting Katyushas on Ashkelon, and if the threat might include Ashdod and Beersheba in the near future, this is war.
Amidst official ceremonies, the Iranian President Ahmadinejad wrapped up his visit to Iraq. Afterwards, he left to return to Tehran. Before leaving Iraq, Ahmadinejad strongly criticized the United States and called on the superpower to leave the region. He also announced the signing of 7 memorandums of understanding, which deal with all relations between the two countries in the fields of manufacturing, trade, and customs, among others.
Important talks were held during the visit by the Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad to Iraq. The most prominent topics that appeared to have been discussed before and during the visit and talks by Ahmadinejad with the Iraqi President Jalal Talabani and the Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki were the 1975 treaty, which divided the Arab coast between Iraq and Iran after it was under Iraq's sovereign rule. The Iranian opposition group Mujahideen al-Haq, which Iran stressed the need to expel from Iraq. The Iranian Kurdish Party of Free Life in Kurdistan, which is militarized in some areas of northern Iraq, security cooperation, especially relating to Iraqi stability, and economic and trade cooperation. It appears the issue of the Mujahideen al-Haq was the most pressing.
We discussed this issue before. The presence of this group as a terrorist organization on the borders is prohibited according to the constitution. We are working to get rid of them.
However, with regards to the border issues, specifically the Algeria Treaty of 1975, the current government considers it invalid after Saddam Hussein nullified it in 1980 at the start of the Iraqi-Iranian War. Then they returned to it after the invasion of Kuwait. Thus, Tehran was clear about it.
Regarding the Treaty of 1975, we repeatedly reiterated that it is unacceptable to negotiate it. Both sides are carrying out constructive talks regarding border relations and the division of the Arab coast.
Another complicated issue is the presence of the Kurdish Party of Free Life militias, which are calling for the Kurdish areas to secede from Iran. Ahmadinejad called on Iraq and Turkey to cooperate to eliminate these groups, which he believes are undermining the stability of the region. No details were leaked about Ahmadinejad's talks regarding the presence of the U.S. forces, which secured the roadways ahead of the Iranian president's motorcade from the Baghdad airport to where the talks were held. Safa Adahi, Al Arabiya.
Safa Adahi, Al Arabiya.
عشية الذكرى الخامسة لاحتلال العراق يخصص برنامج في الممنوع سلسلة حلقات خاصة يناقش فيها أين كان العراق.
We will devote the first episode of this series to the organized theft of Iraqi artifacts that represented civilization. After the fall of former Iraqi President Saddam Hussein, theft and sabotage were extended to Iraqi museums and libraries. Unique artifact collections representing the civilization of the land of the two rivers that were on exhibit in museums were stolen. In addition, entire book collections from certain historic eras disappeared from the National Library, thus negatively affecting Iraq's wealth of civilization and culture. The historical and cultural loss of Baghdad is tremendous, and it's said that it has never been destroyed to this level, even when it was invaded by the Mongols. In the next episodes, we'll talk about Iraq's loss at the humanitarian and social levels, as well as Iraq's oil wealth and its relations with its neighbors before and after the occupation. We'll start with this report.
قبل الدخول في تفاصيل السرقات الموصوفة للآثار العراقية بعد الغزو الأمريكي لابد من التوقف وبتأمل.
Before talking about the details of stolen Iraqi artifacts after the American invasion, we must first carefully explain what happened during the 1990s under the rule of the Baathists. The first theft at Baghdad's National Museum took place then. What is more important than that is what was done to pave the way for the artifacts theft. In the 1990s, the Baath leadership got rid of the law demanding the registration of artifacts at the Finance Ministry, which was in place since the monarchy era. The registration of artifacts stopped without anyone making any significant noise. Then the older registration records of artifacts were taken away from the Finance Ministry and were kept under the control of the Baath Intelligence Command Center in complete secrecy. Where are these records now? No one knows. This crime paved the way for the first theft of artifacts from the Iraqi National Museum in Baghdad, which took place in 1999. The fact that these records are still missing has hindered efforts by the international community to pursue the stolen Iraqi artifacts because there were no official documents with the artifacts' descriptions.
لعدم وجود أصول موثقة لها يمكن اعتمادها لتعميم مواصفاتها. السرقة الهادئة التي تمت في عام 1999.
In 1999, some of the artifacts that were organized in exhibits according to their time period, beginning with the BC era until the Islamic era, were stolen without anybody noticing. A unique artifact disappeared, which was a pair of earrings that were found at the royal gravesite in the city of Ur, dating back to the 3rd century BC. No one knows where this artifact disappeared to, and the Iraqi-sponsored newspapers did not report the theft at the time. The only thing that was done was to record a complaint against unknown individuals. Before the American invasion, the ceramic tiles covering the dome of Abu Hanifa al-Nu'man in Al-Athamiya neighborhood in Baghdad, which dates back to the 19th century, was replaced with a newer one, but no one knows where the old one went.
حيث أزيل غلاف السيراميك الذي يرجع تاريخه للقرن ال19 واستبدل بالآجر ولم يعرف ما حل بالغلاف التاريخي.
When the Iraqi regime fell in April 2003, the Iraqi Museum in Baghdad and museums in other provinces such as Mosul, Basra, and Babel were exposed to theft for 2 consecutive days. This was called later the largest civilization scandal of the century. The theft was carried out by local and international networks, as well as Iraqi and Arab agents. The smugglers were skillful in selling stolen artifacts at auctions or over the net. It is worth mentioning that the National Iraqi Museum in Baghdad was robbed while American forces were protecting the oil ministry nearby. Oil was protected, while history and civilization were wasted. It is estimated that 170,000 artifacts were stolen, 15,000 of which have no registration records.
وتقدر المسروقات ب170,000 قطعة أثرية لا تتوافر أصول مسجلة لأكثر من
The most important of these artifacts are the Sumerian cuneiforms, which represents the philosophy of life and death. Also, the head of a Sumerian young woman that was known as Iraq's Mona Lisa, and the Chaldean head of Sono Joan, and the unique winged Seramun that was found in Namrud. The National Museum in Baghdad was robbed over 3 stages. First, common thieves stole vaults, office furniture, and weapons from guards. The first group vandalized objects that do not concern educated collectors. The second group entered the exhibition rooms in the National Iraqi Museum in Baghdad. The third group, which was the most skillful, went for the storage rooms. The last 2 groups knew in advance the artifacts they were looking for, and they had among them former museum employees and Iraqi artifact traders. The third group that went for the storage rooms were looking for valuable artifacts. They were looking for light and expensive artifacts. Members of these groups knew the codes for the locks, which meant that professional thieves and international mafias were involved. Greek, Sassanite, and Islamic scriptures were stolen from storage rooms. Investigations revealed that the main metal gate of the storage rooms was opened. It was not opened by force, which means a person who knew where the key was participated in the theft.
ما يشير إلى أنهم استعانوا بلصوص المحترفين من مافيات العالم.
Waiting is usually boring, whether at train stops or at airports. So how must one feel if he lived his whole life waiting? In Nouakchott, in Mauritania, a residential neighborhood embodies eternal waiting. It's called the waiting neighborhood. Citizens who have had to accept deteriorating living conditions in which electricity and water are luxurious and complementary items. In addition to all this, the authorities consider them as thieves who stole land that is not theirs. From Nouakchott, Mahmoudi Muhammad.
The Gaza is the last area of the waiting neighborhood in the heart of the capital, Nouakchott. The residents here settled on this land, which the authorities consider stolen from the state.
We have not stolen the land. We have been here since 1989. We're not hurting anyone.
We continue to suffer from the roads and the lack of services. We are suffering from the project and from those who are being irresponsible. We are even suffering from the medical establishment.
When Muhammad al-Amin wants to watch a television program, he must close the windows and curtains so that the light does not shine in the eyes of the electricity company, which doesn't sleep. This is because his electricity comes from an illegal company after one of the main company's cables was interrupted. The Inara company's mafia provides residents of the Gaza with electricity at higher prices.
We have stopped using electricity from the state. Here we use electricity sold by pirates through illegal cable extensions in what is called Qazarat.
Everyone is waiting for this land to be made legal. If this happens, it will destroy many homes which were built by the poor with perhaps everything they have. The roads will have to be dug up, and there will have to be space made for public plazas, hospitals, and schools. The residents of waiting must wait for the future project. Perhaps this waiting will bring many new difficulties for them. However, everyone says that waiting for the suffering to begin is worse than the suffering itself. Between the waiting neighborhood and other ones, there are many streets in Mauritania. The Hope Street, a street of hope for those who have permits for their homes and are living to the right of Hope Street. However, Hope Street is not much of a hope to those living to its left in the waiting neighborhood, where the residents are living amidst distress and agony. Mahmoud Muhammad, Dubai TV, the waiting neighborhood, Nouakchott.
His Royal Highness King Abdullah II announced a housing initiative last Tuesday in the Dead Sea. The initiative aims at helping people achieve their goal of home ownership, especially after the major increase in prices of imports and building materials. Achieving the goals of this ambitious 5-year plan is based primarily on the collaboration between the public and private sectors. The following report shows a glimpse of people suffering in the past and their hopes for a better future.
There are many faces to the distress of not having the proper home, a harsh reality found in overcrowded low-income areas with poor sanitary conditions.
I have 9 kids and my husband is ill with diabetes. I'm staying at my uncle's house in a room and a kitchen. It's hardly enough. Our fate is in God's hands. The increase in prices makes it impossible for us to survive. We don't know what to do.
The youth, who form the majority of the Jordanian population, suffer in a different way, especially when deciding to get married and choosing a life partner. Having housing determines whether marriage is something to be achieved or something to be abandoned.
There is no way. The prices are unbelievably high.
The Royal Initiative provides a firm basis to solving many of the problems associated with housing. These laws include the implementation of the law governing renters and owners.
If a person doesn't have a sufficient income to pay his rent, where is he going to go? To the streets? There are people with such limited incomes that they can't afford anything. Where will they go, along with their families?
I am a renter. I am the one who tastes the burn of rent at the beginning and end of each month. I am the one who earns 200 Jordanian dinars a month and can't even afford to buy bread.
If I was renting for 40 or 50 dinars in the 80s, how could you now raise my rent to 180, 170 or 160 dinars? Where am I going to get this money?
The Royal Housing Initiative came to ease citizens' suffering and to make housing a matter of the past, opening new doors to a better life.
I live in a semi-basement apartment. Thank God we're very happy when we heard about this initiative.
Providing housing projects for low-income individuals aims to decrease the suffering of employees in the public sector as well as others by giving them incentives to build homes that suit their needs. Youssef Mashaqba, Jordan TV.
هنأ الرئيس الروسي المنتهي ولايته فلاديمير بوتين خلال حفل في الساحة الحمراء.
During a concert in Red Square, the departing Russian President Vladimir Putin congratulated the Kremlin candidate Dmitry Medvedev for winning the presidential race. The event was aired on a Russian TV station. Russian voters had gone to support the Kremlin candidate in the morning by voting for Medvedev as the new president of Russia. Medvedev and Vladimir Putin will form a partnership with an unclear future to lead Russia. Focusing on the main unknown factor in the period immediately after the elections, analysts question the possibility of a continued partnership between Putin and Medvedev. The departing president, Vladimir Putin, vowed to fill the position of prime minister, which is a position of real value in Russia, thus raising many doubts among analysts.
النتائج الأولية لعمليات الاقتراع أظهرت تقدم مرشح الكرملين دمتري ميدفيديف على منافسيه في الانتخابات.
The Kremlin candidate, Dmitry Medvedev, came out ahead of his opponents in the preliminary elections. Participation in the elections exceeded 60% of the 180 million eligible Russian voters. The voting polls welcomed millions of Russians from the early morning, closing their doors after the voting was completed. Intensified security measures accompanied the election process. 500,000 policemen oversaw safety and order in 96,000 voting centers dedicated to receiving voters in 84 districts. This is the fifth presidential election in which 4 candidates competed for the seat at Kremlin. They all headed to voting boxes, each trying to appear a winner in this decisive battle.
فيها 4 مرشحين يتنافسون على كرسي الكرملين توجهوا إلى صناديق الاقتراع وحرص كل منهم على الظهور كفائز في هذه المعركة الحاسمة.
The elections are not fair because the authorities here did not stop promoting their candidates. This is considered a breach of the electoral system in the country. The campaigns continued up until yesterday.
Citizens varied in their opinions on the elections. Some considered the elections a joke that was unfair from the beginning because its result was predetermined even before the voting, in favor of the candidate from the ruling party. Others, however, viewed Medvedev's victory as a guarantee that the country's current course will continue.
I voted for Medvedev, which is only natural, as it's the only option to maintain the accomplishments that have been achieved.
I didn't vote for anyone, because the next president was known before the elections even took place, without taking the opinions of the people into consideration.
There was modest participation by international observers monitoring the polls due to some international organizations boycotting the elections. In spite of this, the Central Election Committee placed 230 international observers to monitor the elections. Most of the observers were from unallied countries. About 500,000 Russian observers representing the four candidates also participated in monitoring the election process.
We are monitoring the election process diligently, and we have not observed any breaches or violations thus far.
Vladimir Putin, who called on his citizens to participate in the election during his last appearance as president of the country, did not hide his joy at the polling center after casting his vote. Some people analyze this as a feeling of victory for executing the second phase of his plan to rearrange the government and divide authority. According to experts, Medvedev's victory in this election is part of a comprehensive plan placed by President Putin to rearrange the government. However, some fear that this decision-making will thus turn into a competition between the new Kremlin president and his upcoming Prime Minister, Vladimir Putin. For Al Madar Program Abu Dhabi Station, this is Amjad Dawish reporting from Moscow.
The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors.
Hi, I'm Wendy Hanamura, station manager here at Link TV. You know, recently we did a poll of some of you, our donors, and we asked you why you contribute to Link TV. I keep a binder of all your answers, and they're great. Here are some of them. No advertising, no commercials, no corporate strings, right? Not your average regurgitated empty news. The #1 reason I watch and donate to Link TV is Mosaic. It's great to hear from you, and it's great that you support us. If you haven't yet done that, I invite you to do that now. A quick visit to our website or a phone call is all that it takes. It's fast and it's easy. Here's where you go. The website is linktv.org. Click on that green support button to see all of the options right now. You want to make your support count even more? Well, choose this option, the No Gifts Please option, to guarantee that 100% goes to what you value most on Link TV. If you prefer to call us, here's the number, 1-866-485-8848. And consider this budget-friendly option. Become a sustaining supporter. It's easy to do at linktv.org or when you call. You just have to have your credit card ready to set up automatic contributions in any amount that's right for you. Think of it as your subscription to documentaries, music, and news from around the world. To thank you for a $20 or more per month donation, we have the new Link TV duffel bag ready to send in thanks. Introduce people in your life to the insightful and one-of-a-kind programs you can see only here. Go to linktv.org right now or call us and make a $50 tax-deductible contribution, and we'll send you the beautiful Link TV cards. Include a note to a friend about all that Link TV has to offer. When you contribute $100, we'll send you the cards plus the new Link TV travel mug. Yet another great way to spread the word. You know, each one of you and each dollar you pitch in makes a difference. Not everyone can give a lot at once, but if you can, please consider making a powerful $1,000 tax-deductible contribution to Link TV. That's $1,000 that helps us buy more documentaries and more films to show all year to millions of Americans across the country. And in thanks, we're going to send you every single gift that we have mentioned during this entire fundraising period. It's a huge box full of DVDs, books, the Link TV gear, CDs, and more. Of course, the real gift, though, is that it guarantees that Link TV will be here when you need us, serving up the best documentaries, news, and music from around the world. So please help Link TV to continue to bring you independent media at its best. Go online to linktv.org, call us at 1-866-485-8848, and thank you. Thank you for supporting Link TV, television without borders.
This program was brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news, with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.